There's a lover in the story, but the story's still the same. There's a lullaby for suffering and a paradox to blame. I didn't know I had permission to murder and to maim. You want it darker? We kill the flame.
You don't think I'm a bad person?
All I think is that I love you.
You look like the kind that's convinced himself he's got this under his thumb. But you pull on one little thread and...
I'm ready. My lord. Magnified, sanctified be thy holy name. Vilified, crucified in the human frame. You want it darker? We kill the flame.
One. Hello, my name is Thomas Carruthers.
My name's Jesse Center.
And today starts a whole new 3 Picks series. This 3 Picks came about because I was talking about somebody else's 3 Picks and Jazz said, why haven't I been able to do that? That sounds good. So then Jazz chose her 3 Picks. And then we were having a separately planned movie night. And I said, can we do this one instead of one of your other 3 picks? So we've inadvertently ended up, as I always do, ended up choosing one of the person's 3 picks. But that is not to say that you don't very much like this film. And it wasn't you who said to watch it on that movie night. I'm blabbing. What is your first pick, Jazz?
My first pick is the...
You can stop. Let's stop that.
No,
voice.
yeah.
You're going to do the whole... We're not doing Oliver.
No,
There's
I'm
no
not
reason.
doing the whole... All right. I'll start doing your accent if you don't calm down. It's Bones and All with the lovely Timothée Chalamet and Taylor Russell, directed by Luca, can't pronounce his last name.
Guadagnino. There are times where I think he can't pronounce his last name. He's so wonderful in every single interview. I mean, we're fresh off the heels of, well, by the time this episode comes out, Queer has already come out and won Oscars or not won Oscars, and everybody's forgotten about Queer. But, I mean, the great moment of, do you think there'll ever be a gay James Bond, Mr. Craig? Can we please just be adults in the room for a second? I mean, he's a living legend. To say that you love Timothée Chalamet, and to say that I wouldn't say that graphic horror is your favorite thing. I find it somewhat suspect that of the 2 Luca Guadagnino, Timothée Chalamet movies, you've not watched the one that everybody's watched, Call Me By Your Name, and instead have watched I love both. I prefer Bones and All just because I'm a sicko, but what drew you to Bones and All and not Call Me By Your Name? And where does your Timothée Chalamet love begin? Because for most people, it began with, what's his name? Not Julio. Leo. No, what's his name?
I don't know. I haven't watched it.
I know. I'm completely asking the wrong person. Continue, sir.
Okay, so my Timothée Chalamet love started when he did Beautiful Boy with Steve Carell. Happened upon that movie. And then I was like, he's cute. And then it kind of just spiraled from there. But I will say, he's not in my top 5 men in Hollywood right now. So
okay, can I do this? Obviously, Harry, if you're classing him in Hollywood.
No, I'm not.
Oh, okay then. So
he's a separate category.
You're a bear girl, aren't you?
Yeah, I do like bear.
So Jeremy?
Yeah, he's in there, yeah.
Okay.
But not from the bear, from Shameless. I love the TV show. So, but then the bear does help. And then I watched him in Iron Claw as well. So, you know.
What a great film. Does this then have Harris Dickinson or Zac Efron in there?
No, but think Harris Dickinson's lookalikes.
Jack
He hasn't
Lowden,
done like
Saoirse Ronan's husband.
no, he hasn't done a movie in a while. This is like a childhood one.
Dylan O'Brien.
Oh yeah, he's in there, but it's not him. No.
Jacob Elordi.
No.
I know he doesn't look like Aris Dickinson. Do you like that?
Do you want me to tell you?
Yeah, just tell me.
I think the most recent thing he's done, big thing, was 19. What's it called?
George Mackay.
Yeah, love him.
Oh my God. Where
I
you pull him from?
That's 3. Who are my other 2? Tom Holland has to have a spot in there, obviously.
Oh yeah, you do love Tom Holland.
I do love Tom Holland. I don't know who my 5th one is, but it's not Timothy.
Okay then.
Andrew Garfield. It's Andrew Garfield. It's about to be Andrew
okay.
Garfield again because of the movie coming out.
Which,
he'll make the appearance.
Which will have already come out and been and gone, and nobody will remember it anymore. Speaking of people who are in or were in famous relationships and have made appearances on the London stage, Taylor Russell.
Love Taylor Russell.
She's wonderful. She's wonderful. I've loved her ever since Waves. Did you watch The Wonderful Waves, Jazz? No,
this was the first thing I saw her in, actually.
She's very, very good in Waves, and that's very, very good movie. Kind of underrated now. Nobody really talks about Waves. Anyway, and she's kind of like, not to ruin anything, but about halfway through, it makes a very sharp turn and becomes her movie. And she's been in the periphery and great up until that point, but when we reach that axis point, the whole movie becomes hers, and she lives up to the the task and is sensational in it. I unfortunately didn't have a chance to see The Effect, but I did want to. I was at sea, which leads me to I was at sea, and so I had to download this movie on AmazonPrime.com. I downloaded 5 movies on the rare chance I had Wi-Fi in New York. And I was like, oh, I'll buy these, and I bought After Sun and Decision to Leave and Armageddon Time, and it was a sort of an Oscars catch-up, and I was so very excited. And then I got back to the ship, and in the 1 hour that it had taken to download everything and all that, my sister, who apparently the Amazon Prime account is linked to, had deleted them all and been on the phone with Amazon Prime for an hour and a half, thought she'd been scammed. And I said to her, do all these weirdo movies not trigger you to think that maybe your brother has done it? She was like, it just said that somebody's downloaded and paid for a lot of movies in New York City.
But it's not
what she said. Anyway, so on my iPad, probably, unfortunately, in between breaks, I watched Bones and All in Chunks, which kind of weirdly works. It's a very episodic movie. But I loved it. I thought it was great. Looking at to be honest with you, I think it might be a climber. I'm looking now at my list of my favorite movies this was 2022, year-end lists, 2022. Yeah, I had it at 17. And looking again, to be honest, I think it's a lot higher. I'm seeing a few of these that I would knock down or knock up. Yeah. I'm going to have to play around with that later. The rest of the list is really quite solid, but I'm going to have to play around with that later. What was your first impression of Bones and All?
the one thing that stuck with me, and you know what I'm going to say,
I do.
is Sully, the character Sully, Creepy McCreepazoid, needs to go away. Fucking hate him. He gives me nightmares. I also watched this movie when I was home alone. My mum was working nights, my sister was at her dad's, and my other sister was at her boyfriend's. And I was home alone with my puppy, and it was horrifying because all I was thinking about is he's going to be in my street whistling or singing some song about brown eyes, and he's going to come and he's going to eat me, or he's going to like recruit me. I don't know. Not that I'm a cannibal, but he just scares me.
Mark Rylance as Sully is sensational. I've had a lot of fun over the past 2 years doing his voice. Unfortunately, nobody knows what I'm doing. And then I feel like Sully. I finally met somebody who I can do my great Sully impression to, and I've been shunned and not allowed. I can see us in the car park and I'm going, can I please do my Sully? And you're like, no, no. And then you leave me in the middle of the night. So I do understand Sully's point of view. Mark Rylance, it goes without saying, is one of our great actors ever. But the movie is filled with these incredible small performances. Sully rises to the top because he's the only one who we get, well, 3 times in total. Everybody else has like one extended scene or one great little moment. I mean, Chloe Sevigny, I'll get that quote from you now. Chloe Sevigny revealed in an interview that when Luca asked her to play a small but pivotal part in the role, she replied, "I'll come for you, even if it's one line." So, you know, he's one of those directors where you do get, well, he's a name, you know, he's a name now, and he's just so entirely prolific. I mean, shoot, every one of these Bones and All interviews I'm listening to in preparation, well, not anymore, but was listening to in preparation for this podcast, he's already talking about, you know, and I've just finished my movie Challengers, and they will be ready. And you know, I mean, sure, it took two years in between, but he's always moving on to something. I mean, the joy of we haven't seen Queer yet, but the joy of getting Challengers and Queer within a calendar year. I think what I love most about him is that such prolificness and such variety of genres, and yet I would say that they all feel of a piece still.
Yeah.
When it comes to sensuality, when it comes to consumption on screen, you know, this film in the most literal sense, but just a sensuality and a sexiness and a perverseness that rides, you know, under all of these stories. And whether it's Challengers, where the sexuality and the sensuality rises to the top, or in this, or Suspiria, where the horror and the perverseness rises to the top, they all feel of a kin. I've always liked Luca. Maybe I'm a normie, but I do prefer this, Bones and All, Suspiria, and Challengers to his first 3 films, I Am Love, Call Me by Your Name, and A Bigger Splash. Not that I don't like those 3 movies in their turn, but of recent, he's been kind of playing to my strengths of taste. So you've seen Challengers. We did a whole 2 hours on it. Is that it?
Yeah.
That's yeah. Well, we nearly watched A Bigger Splash
but
the other day.
Now I do. Yeah, I actually want to watch that now. That's going in the rotation of things we.
Well, we're on the eve of the London Film Festival, where I'm going to try and get tickets for Queer. So we will be marathoning all movies by Luca. But you didn't want to watch A Bigger Splash because of Dakota Johnson, who is also in Suspiria for 3 hours.
I was introduced to Dakota Johnson via 50 Shades. And I hate her in 50 Shades. Hate it.
Excuse me, Jazz, please. Put some respect on Anastasia Steele's name.
I fucking hate her. I hate Anastasia Steele. She's a fucking snooze fest. So, and then the other films I've watched her in the one with Olivia Colman, where she's like
The Lost Daughter.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Did you see my daughter? Did you see my daughter?
That annoyed me. And then I've seen her in a few other things here and there, like the bigger stuff she's done. But I don't know, something about her just jars me. But I'm willing to give it a chance because I do like the movies of his that I have watched. So I'm like, I'll put my hatred for Dakota Johnson on the back foot for the chance that maybe this will change my mind.
It's a great place to do it. I mean, I do love Dakota. I thoroughly enjoyed Man Web. I thought it was a great.
Yeah, that's the other thing. I saw like clips of that, and I was just like, this woman hates this movie.
Yeah, and it's wonderful to see. Another collaboration with Luca with screenwriter David Kajanich, perhaps, who did Suspiria for him and The Bigger Splash for him. And in a lot of the press for this, Luca said, and he's already written another script for me, which I love. But it's Justin Kuritzkis of Challengers, who's written queer for him. So who is the new favorite boy anyway? That's your Saltburn movie, your Thomas and Mr. Ripley movie, or Luca deciding between his new favorite screenwriters. The movie comes from a book which neither of us have read by Camille De Angelis, who, but from all descriptions, plays it a lot more young adulty. And De Angelis at the time had just committed to a vegan diet. And the book raises various points about the morality associated with killing others.
Tom hates vegans.
I don't hate vegans. I
despise them.
Yeah, I can deal with vegetarians. I can deal with vegetarian. Well, they're probably, it's been a year. They're not around anymore. Let's just be honest. Wouldn't that be wonderful if they were? Anyway, these are a few things that are different in the book, which sound terrible. Well, not terrible, but you know what I mean, and sound like the sort of typical shit that David Kenovich has just gotten rid of gloriously. So, in the book, it's actually a mother and father swap. So, the book more or less plays exactly the same, apart from from what I've read, synopsis-wise. Apart from it's the mother and the father's mutilated himself in the prison, in the mental ward.
Right.
Kind of a nothing change, but I think it does work somewhat in regards. I don't know. I mean, interesting choice. Do you think there is a point there to that, or?
The only one I can think of is Lee's dad is obviously the cannibal for him, the parent. I'm assuming it comes through blood.
No. Chloe Sevigny is the cannibal. That's why she ate her own arms.
Yeah, no, what I'm saying is that like mother, daughter, father, son, they have that like.
Oh, right. Oh, right. Okay. Sorry. Well, this leads us on to the next. This leads us on to the next change, which sounds really, really dumb. Starts with a smaller change. Sully leaves Marin rather than Marin leaving Sully at the start of the film.
So then why would he get angry and come back?
Oh, because Jazz, Sully's revealed to be Marin's grandfather.
Oh, glad they took that out.
It just sounds very, very dumb. Great choices. Great choices. It leads us to, a more stripped back feel, just a more cohesive feel. I love Sully is just a misunderstood, creepy guy. No, is a terrible, terrible man who shows up for no reason when you least expect it. And he is just spaced so beautifully throughout the film. I think he's excellently employed. Here are a few quotes before we start. Guadagnino said that Bones and All is a very romantic story about the impossibility of love and yet the need for it, even in extreme circumstances. Sure. I mean, this is when we get into. We were laughing because we were then watched Timmy, and he was like, "I think it's a road love movie inspired by our generation." And the best one, which is Taylor saying, "These are very misunderstood people." I think this film is for the lovers, for everyone who feels alone. We get it. The cannibalism is a metaphor. But
I've seen it though, like be a metaphor for a multiple of different things, because some people were saying it's a metaphor for being part of the LGBTQIA plus community. And I know how I feel about that metaphor.
The LGBTQIA community.
IA plus. That's it, right?
It's all right. I was just doing it. I was putting C in there for cannibal. I think, it could be a metaphor for anything. It could be a metaphor. It could be a metaphor for absolutely anything. Any reason that a person's an outsider, whether it is their sexuality, whether it is their race, whether it's any number of things. Again, it could mean something or nothing. I think that if it was, I think the great joy of the film is that it's not metaphorical, and that we see in graphic detail and go into brutal description and see the cannibalism and how these lives occur. You know, it could be the conversations that Andre Holland leaves on those great voice notes, tapes. And, you know, I knew you were different when you were a little boy. I always thought maybe something was different about you. I realized I didn't understand it. You know, it was like, oh, he's gay. Great. I saw you fucking eat a babysitter at 3. You know, it could be so much more metaphorical, so much looser, so much, and they just have no interest in that. And I think that is one of the film's great strengths. I said to you, let's do it on a night so I can make notes, and you said, I don't take notes. So here are my nominations for best 10-minute stretch. Jump in if any of these if I'm missing anything. Meeting Sully. Let's talk about it now. When's the last time you feared?
Stop doing the voice. Stop
I've got to do the voice when I can't quote him without doing the voice. Is there any part of you in that first 10 minutes where you thought, Sully, baby, Sully is possibly a good guy?
No.
Even when he's making the hen?
Especially not when he's making the hen. I think it's a woman's intuition.
Oh, no.
Creep. So immediately clocked him. Creepy guy. Girl, get out of there. What are you doing?
Are you saying I shouldn't show women my hair collection when I first meet
Nope,
them?
don't do that. I've been telling you, Tom. It's not even going wrong.
It's coming. It's winter soon. It makes a marvelous scarf. I love Mark. It was a Thomas Carruthers nominee. Sensational performance. Subtle and muttering and bumbling and fumbling and so unsettling with a niceness somewhere in there, Jess. And you can look again.
Niceness. I think it's like, and he feels very childish.
Yeah, a child.
It's an infantilization almost of himself, especially when he refers to himself in the third person.
Well, it feels, maybe it's just the voice. Yeah, I'll do it. Why not? It feels like when people would say about Michael Jackson being like, he loved children because he never had a childhood himself. And that's how it feels. I know. But allegedly. But like, that's how I feel about Sully. Like, he never had a childhood, obviously. And so perhaps he gravitates. And I do think there is a part of him that gravitates to Taylor, to Marin, because he didn't have anybody to shelter him through the first years and anything like that. And I'm sure he sees her like that, and not knowing that for the majority of her life, she's actually had a pretty good father figure.
Yeah, I think he wants to like take her under her wing and like his wing and, you know, teach her the ways of the cannibals. Because he gives her like 2-3 rules in the first 5 minutes of them meeting.
It's very similar to Interview with a Vampire, when you've got Brad Pitt and you've got Tom Cruise and he takes him under his wing, and you've got you're kind of setting up, you're kind of like signing up for mentally a 10-minute montage now of Sully and Marin on the road before obviously something goes wrong. I don't think you necessarily expect her to leave quite literally the morning after. Was there a part of you who, well, you talked about this woman's intuition, this women's intuition. You talked about your women's intuition. Would you did you expect Marin to get out of there straight away, or did you expect? Oh, yeah.
Because her priority isn't learning the ways of cannibals; it's finding her mum, and her getting sidetracked by this Sully quest is not gonna help her do that. Plus, she had a bus to get. I think she was
also, fucking to me isn't gonna help her find her mom.
He does. He drives her there,
and
he's cute. Sorry, she's a teenage girl.
Even with the pink hair.
Especially with the pink hair.
Jazz. This is a good.
Mom, no, you don't understand. There's just something.
Evidently. No, I get. I get the appeal of Timmy. I was going to pay and watch, what was that play he was going to do at the Old Vic, but it got COVIDed. I was going to watch
Oh my
him.
God, I'm so fucking pissed off about that. Sorry.
Yes, but haven't you learnt your lesson from Tom Holland that seeing your idols in terrible productions on
Not
stage?
Tom's fault. I'm blaming the director. I can see it in all those actors' eyes. They were like, we are here for the paycheck. This is awful. I could see it. I could sense it. Because I wasn't just there for him. I was there for the guy from Heartstopper as well.
No, no. I thought you meant Martha.
And then the guy that
Doctor
was
Who.
in the other thing on CBBC. I was there for them as well. So, not Tom's fault.
Were the rest of I looked at the cast at a glance. Were any of the Capulets white? Did they play into the race element at all, or ignore it?
Paris was white, and that was it. I think, from what I can remember, everyone else was.
Paris is Paul Rudd.
Yeah.
This is the thing. I hate Shakespeare.
Boo!
I hate Shakespeare, and I'm not a fan of Jamie Lloyd. So the idea of sitting through Romeo and Juliet. Also,
not great for you.
Do you know how hard it is for me to not want to see Sigourney Weaver on stage? It's really hard, Jazz. But I don't want to watch The Tempest, directed by Jamie Lloyd. This is very inside baseball. Let's talk about bones and all. We then get the wonderful Rednecks. You haven't seen Call Me by Your Name yet, but the bigger guy is Timmy's sensitive father from Call Me by Your Name. So
he's in something else as well that I recognize.
Michael Stuhlbarg's in a lot. Yeah, and then the other guy is the wonderful director David Gordon Green, who your mileage may vary on his Halloween movies, but Pineapple Express and his earlier George Washington.
I love Pineapple Express.
So the guy who isn't actually a feeder and just eats for fun directed Pineapple Express.
That makes sense. He looks like one of the guys.
That makes sense.
Yeah, he looks like one of the guys in it. Maybe he's in it. I don't know, but that makes perfect sense.
I love my guys. The episodic nature of the film, and what a brilliant just 10-minute scene, a vignette of, okay, we think we're going to talk to another feeder. Yeah, this is interesting. Oh, no. This guy is taken under his wing somebody who isn't a feeder at all and is eating for the fun of it. And obviously that unnerves Taylor. And, Lee plays it cool, and then gets out of there at the right time. And that's another thing that I think Marin has to learn is about, well, no, she got away just fine from Sully. But like Lee knows that you can't just shoot off to the car because they'll start. You've got to play it cool and drink a few more beers. Wonderful performances from Michael Stuhlbarg and David Gordon Green there. Then it's not necessarily it is if you count both. The wonderful Jessica Harper from the original Suspiria and the sequel to Rocky Horror, and she plays the grandmother, and just a great little 2-minute scene there, and then into meeting actual Chloe Sevigny as the mother. And the minute we turn the corner and see the mutilated arms. At what stage does one eat their arms? How long have they been in the prison? The psych ward.
I'm going to put it at 2 years. I feel like the first year you can hold on. Second year you might try and eat one of the guards or one of the nurses or something. And then you hit that like midpoint. And then I think you're just like, well, fuck it.
Also, she ate a fair amount.
Ate what, like her hands, basically?
Yeah. It's good stuff. It's just great horror stuff. I find it interesting.
For some reason, in my mind, when we watched it for the second time, I thought that she'd had her teeth pulled out as well. But no, she hasn't. But
no.
Good idea for anyone looking to stop. Okay, I'm going to stop that sentence there.
But also, I don't think a government-controlled legal psych ward can pull a woman's teeth out. No,
if they're biting, like back in the 80s, if someone in a psych ward was like biting people, I swear they've done that. I've heard.
maybe. I think maybe a retainer or, you know, heavy drugs, which is what they do. You know.
Yeah.
Sitting on the planes and that great, you know, obviously it was never going to come into an Oscar clip, but Timmy's Oscar clip and my dad does a big sensitive speech and he's very, very good at it. And it feels almost like an ending. And then we get this, it feels the next 10-minute stretch for me, which is it's brilliant. It almost feels like an epilogue. It start August. The whole time we've had these, you know, flashes of the area codes of the states as they move through. But now it's the thing, and then we see that great video that every woman likes to tweet. I wish this was me, or the other way around. Of Taylor Russell coming from behind and kissing him and swapping a cigarette and then making eggs. And that does seem completely ideal, to be frank with you. And then it just lulls us just enough. And then here comes Sully. And
fucks everything up.
Poor Timmy. Not poor Sully, as I'm learning.
Yeah, well done.
And
what? How long?
Yeah, and he's absolutely terrifying. And we get this just absolutely no punches pulled, pulling out his heart. And
yeah, she wanted to make sure he was dead.
And then we realize that Timmy has a gaping wound, and he says, "Eat me, eat me. I want you to eat me." And we then hear this incredibly beautiful song by Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross, you know, about how, you know, what's the line? You know, for a while we made it a home or something. And it's just, you said it yourself. You said, why is this giving Titanic? You know, it's incredibly emotional.
It would.
And then we end on a moment of them at their happiest, you know, post-coital, half naked on the plains, and the movie ends. We can talk about it as later as a Tom's Big Question, or we can just do it now. But what happens to Marin? I mean, does she find somebody else like Lee? Does she go completely solo? Is this, you know, because she's finally got a clean break, you know, Sully's gone. Does the weight of Lee's death weigh too much? Does she go to Cassie and say, "So I want you to know Lee's dead. Where is he buried?" About that.
No, because his sister's dead, isn't she?
Not Cassie.
Who's Cassie? That's not his sister's name.
What's his sister's name?
Isn't it start with isn't it like Julia or something?
Oh, Janie. I don't know. I had Euphoria on the mind.
I swear this gets eaten by what's his face?
Oh, Sully.
Yeah, I swear he eats.
No, you're right. No, you're right. Sully does kill her, doesn't he? Off screen.
Yeah, because then she finds the hair thing, these little rope, and then at the end is her hair, and then she shows me.
I was having a wee. Yes, I do remember now. I remember now from 2 years ago on my iPad at sea, and the wonderful Cyril going, "What the fuck is this movie you're watching?"
Kayla. Her name's Kayla. All
right, yeah. So neither of us were right. Yes. Oh, he does kill. Yes. Oh, Jazz. You shouldn't.
Yeah, Sully's bad. Bad.
No, he's misunderstood.
No, bad man.
Do you have any other 10-minute stretches? I more or less hit most of the film, but did I miss anything out for you?
No.
Okay. We've got 5 minutes for Tom's weirdly specific favorite parts of the film. Great early moment. Mr. Esser said he reminded you to get 3 times to get your photo taken. Obviously, she's avoiding it. She's photo taken because the same as her father's clearly told her. The lock on the door behind her and the screwdriver on the window. Cut away to the father when he leaves the first tape. And that great line, I can't do what some other person would do in my place. I'm not going to kill you in your sleep. You know, I can't do it. And how, you know, it leads you to think of all the different, we get Sully, you know, she washed me up, his mother washing him up and dealing with it that way. We have the Chloe Sevigny's parents, they deal with it by leaving her to freeze to death outside a police station. You know, there are many different ways that one can deal with it, or you do what they do here and go for it. And again, beautiful, beautiful dialogue, talking about finding the babysitter's ear. And instead of talking about him being horrified that he's found that his baby is a cannibal eating murderer, I remember thinking, thank God she wasn't wearing one, or else you'd have choked on it. Such beautiful, flippant, you know, little dialogue from delivered so great by Andrew Holland. Then we meet Sully. Double take. A moment from the trailer, you know, are you hungry for hens? And then heavy breathing, heavy breathing, heavy breathing. No. The montage of framed photos as they eat the old woman, brilliant. I've put here poor Sully standing on the doorstep.
No.
I'm
also,
kidding.
why did you choose to stand there? Stand on the pavement. You want to be creepy at that point.
He could. He's dealing with a lot of emotions. He's found Anita who's not going to leave him.
She did leave him.
I know.
Never said she was going to stay.
The great reveal in the redneck scene. You're not one of us, and the looks and the kind of a groupie, I guess. Very good. Taylor with the knife at the window, like. Stuhlbarg just bolting straight at the camera as they're leaving. I've got here Lee jacking him all the way to near completion. I find that very funny. Surely.
That whole bit just confuses me.
What's confusing, Jazz? I think you know full well what's going on.
Because, like, is he... No, I know what's going on. But, like, with Lee, I'm like, is he gay? Is he bi? Like, is he...
I think the big giveaway is that he jacks him off to near completion until he's screaming, here I come, here I come. Either he is gay, either he just wants to he has some sympathy for this guy and just wants to give him one last go. Either, you know, like, because you can get somebody at ease jerking them off from experience. No, you can more or less, like, men are stupid. You can just touch it for 10 seconds and you could kill me. Like, I'm gone with the fairies. So I'm pretty sure that he didn't need to jerk him off to full completion. I've got a quote by John Waters about it later, which we will be discussing. I love Jessica Harper. Oh, they didn't marry. Yeah, we wondered. Challenges chicken sandwich lady. Umpire line umpire. Showing up. I got a surprise, Mrs. Kearns. A wonderful surprise. And of course, it's a surprise for us as well as we reveal Chloe Sevigny. So let me help you out of it at the end of the letter. And that great jump scare. The hug from Sully. You ain't sad to see you, Sully. Just I love Sully. No, he's just a friend. Maybe he didn't get that telegram.
That was funny. I did laugh on that line.
And Sully just tearing the bag at the end as his heart is being removed. Great, great images. Any weirdly specific favorite parts, Jess, before we take our first break? Did you just meow like a cat?
I mean, I meow. No, I think you've covered all of them. I can't think of any.
I don't think I've given Timmy enough, you know, shout outs yet to say he's your boy.
He is my boy, but you know, he's not my focus in this film.
Okay. Well, we'll be talking more about him, more about Taylor, more about Sully after our first break. We'll be back. It's a great voice to do.
No.
Me and Jazz just had a minor fake argument, and I realized that I now have an incredible piece of leverage on you. I feel like a father punishing his daughter. Like, anytime you're unruly, I can just say, don't, because I can bring out Sully.
Don't, because it actually does give me nightmares. I'm legit afraid of him.
How did you do last night?
What do you mean? I was all right because you and Callum were home, so I'm fine. But it's when I'm like by myself, like tonight you're going to be out, and I know that Callum's not going to be home until like 7ish. So I'm a bit like, ah.
I invited you. I invited you to a revival screening of the sensational Todd Haynes movie. Say it's not like you don't love Todd Haynes because you loved May December and Julianne Moore, and you said, there's only bad seats left. Will you just say
only
that?
bad seats left. There's two right at the front, one like on the end, or one right at the back. And I'm like, those are shit seats. I want to be in the middle.
The one right at the back, it's the Prince Charles upstairs, so it won't be bad. I'm going to take you tonight. See you then. Bones and all. Best single minute nominations. Sleepover. What an excellent way to open the film. I know it's not the actual opening.
I thought it was like a gay thing when I first watched it.
She's very gay.
She's gonna kiss her, but then she ate her finger.
Sensational performance by Taylor Russell of that breathing and that just the looking, and you think is it gay desire? Is it sapphic desire, or is is it what's going on here? That moment was in the Red Band trailer, and I think it was in the normal trailer as well. And so I did have it ruined for me. But there is a part of me to see that without knowing anything. Again, do you think there are little girls, don't like the sound of that, but do you think there are girls who love Timmy so much and went into this not knowing about the kind of, or is that just my perverse hope?
I do think that some girls, not little girls, some girls went into this and was like, Timothy Chalamet being all sexy on a road trip with the girl. And then they were like, huh? What's going on?
I think this hen had a good life. What the fuck is this? Yeah, I mean, right, I'm going to say this now. Everybody has their own tastes, and obviously gay people exist. But has there ever been a movie where Timothée Chalamet has actually been a leading man type, sex symbol, or like youthful, rugged, handsome leading man without perversion? Because you first fell in love with him in Beautiful Boy, where he plays a heroin addict. This is a dirty little cannibal boy.
Little Women.
Oh yeah.
Laurie. I love him in Little Women.
And I will kill myself. No, I will watch. What does he say? He's very good. He's very good.
One day you will get married and you will love it, and I will watch and be sad or blah blah blah. Yeah, he has that whole thing. I love that scene.
So do I. It's a great scene. Yeah, I know. It's my entire life. No, it's not my entire life because I don't get Florence Pugh. What was I going to say? And obviously, even Call Me by Your Name. Like Luca pulls away constantly, and which you haven't seen yet. But and then there's the whole Army Hammer thing. But anyway, we can talk about that some other time. And then Dune, Paul Atreides. I've not voiced this yet, but I did write it in my review. I thought that he was adamantly like quite bad in the first Dune, to be honest with you. And I take that entirely back because I now see Dune and Dune Part 2 like Godfather Part 2. Like, well, that's easy. Well, no, that's bullshit because
a lot coming to you. Yeah.
Al Pacino's a lot better in the first Godfather. But the arc of Paul Atreides.
I would agree because in the first one, I'm like, oh, how long is this film? But then in the second one, I was like, give me more. Want to see more. What? Come on. I wanted that fight between him and Austin Butler to last at least 30 minutes.
Well, good for you. I mean, I choose you as my wife, or whatever the line is, and just that hard cut to Zendaya. Again, we live in a world now where that is the best picture winner, or it's not, or nobody remembers it, nobody knows anything. So who knows? We haven't discussed who's hosting the Oscars part of this year. Anyway, we'll talk about that. Best single minute. It's March. Anyway, which might be the birthday. Anyway, we'll see. If I still have a woman in my life. God, what a misery life. Best single minute. Lee turning, trying to get some meat. Yeah, sorry, Lee turning a trick, trying to get some meat. You can read into that how you want. And then just the glorious turning a
trick.
Turns a trick is a term for prostitution.
Okay, with you now.
You thought you'd forgotten a scene
I was
where
like, it's like
magic.
a magic trick.
Look at this card, any card. While I jerk you off in the corner. Sully in the car park. Excellent scene. I'm sorry if you find it weird. I'm sorry. It's brilliant. You don't like Sully?
No one likes Sully because Sully is scary.
Why do you talk about yourself like you're two people? You don't like me. Again.
Oh.
Again, I'm not going to like read into it, and he is an abomination on screen. But there is the reason he works so well is because Mark Rylance brings such a humanity and depth to him, and that just brilliant. You don't like Sully? You don't like me is so well pitched, and again, I was listening to an interview where Luca was like, there is a version of this movie where we see it from Mac's point of view, and we understand Sully, and we understand that he's sad. And I was like, oh, Luca, what about?
I understand that he is sad. I just don't think that he needs to go around killing people because of that.
What? It makes you wonder, is this I guess this is a Tomsby question, we'll do it now. Is this the first time Sully, well, he says, doesn't he? I'd never washed with anybody before, or whatever he says. I'd never dried off, or whatever he says. And it's like, and it, is this the first time, anybody has come into his radius that he hasn't just eaten straight away or killed or whatever? Because he does have this rule, but is he like the whole time, his rule about not eating feeders, eating other eaters. Is that actually bullshit? What do you think?
I think that in his past, he's definitely like eaten or killed another eater, feeder, whatever you want to call them. But has somehow justified it in his own mind.
Yeah. I think it's a great film of incredible depth, and it's these sorts of moments that you can read into and look at. It's great. It's a great film. It's a very, very, very good film that I've liked for a very long time. Soundtrack corner. Sully singing in the shower. Oh yes, I'm in the shower. Two just great 80s Britpop, not Britpop, but Brit synth. Isolation, Joy Division with Atmosphere, and New Order with Your Silent Face. It's perfect 80s tracks. What do you think of the kiss scene? Does that do it for you? Him dancing around the room to kiss? Timmy?
Dancing around what room when they kiss?
No, the band Kiss.
Oh, yeah, no, it was great. That's why I was confused. I was like, what? No, yeah, brilliant. I mean, I did look over to you in that moment and say, do you know his mum's a dance teacher?
Yeah. Yeah. Do we? I mean, there was this long flouted Gene Kelly biopic, Fred Astaire biopic that Tom Holland is allegedly still attached to. You'd have to lose some weight. Anyway.
Muscle, I think you mean. Man's is beefy, not chubby.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Go for it, Queen. Defend your man. However, the winner of Best Soundtrack Corner, it does belong to Beautiful Brown Eyes.
No, because I have a complex about, I hate the colour of my eyes. I think brown is such a boring colour and it annoys me. And the fact that there's like only a few songs about having brown eyes out there, and now one of them has been fucking ruined by Sully.
What are all the songs about? What are all the songs about other eyes?
Brown Eyed Girl. No, there's lots of songs.
Brown Eyed Girl is the most famous song about an eye woman.
But this is the thing. I just think that brown eyes are ugly. Maybe it's because my first boyfriend ever told me that my eyes were the color of the good shit. Like, maybe it's giving me a complex.
I might say, and I'm not certain, I would say, and I'm not a therapist, it's definitely that, you idiot. Nobody else has a complex about their eye. Lots of people do.
No, it's
but
also
like,
that
it might definitely be that specific trauma.
And like everyone else in my family has really nice colored eyes, and they get compared to, like, my sister has green eyes, so she's like hazily, and then my other sister's got like ocean blue eyes, and then people compare my eyes to minstrels. You know, the sweets. You know, the little galaxy chocolate minstrels.
Yes, I know.
Yeah, that's what my eyes.
I just said I know.
And I'm like, so you want to eat my eyes? Like, I don't know. I just don't like the color of my eyes. And
bones and all, eyes and all.
Exactly. So
I have brown eyes, and I didn't have a complex until this very moment. So thank you. Best line again. You don't take notes, so. I ate my own granddad while they were waiting on the Undertaker.
Oh, Sully.
Life is never dull with Sully. My Sully is very.
No, it's not very good. It's
no, I'm saying my Sully is very quickly turning into Forrest Gump. Life is never dull with Sully.
It is giving a little bit of Forrest Gump. You've got to add this in there a bit more. My
favourite Sully line is definitely, I'm a girl. Yeah, a girl about my daughter's age if I had one. it's like a nonsense line that makes perfect sense. And then obviously, I want you to eat me. Again, there is a version of this which is a little less gross. Like, I can see in my head the Twilight version of this movie that's a PG or a 12A, and they don't actually eat anybody or anything like that, and you make it really stripped back and child friendly.
But then that would just be Twilight, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
How you're gonna have people justify people eating other people?
Well, they play baseball.
There is a moment in this film where Timothée Chalamet is just wearing cut-off jorts and is topless, and I did look at him and think, Taylor Lautner? Obviously not Taylor Lautner, but it was giving werewolf, I'm in the woods, Twilight.
I was never a Twilight person.
Loved Twilight. Fucking loved Twilight. I know they're god-awful movies, but I loved Twilight.
I know, everybody can enjoy what they like. I don't.
I will be forcing everyone to sit down and watch it at some point in the autumn, just so you're prepared. I
love Kristen Stewart, I'm down for it.
Who doesn't love Kristen Stewart? She's great.
Lots of people, Jazz.
Oh, for unjustified reasons. What has she actually done?
Your camera's frozen.
Is it still frozen?
It's still frozen. Well, and we're back. What's the change? I've got one an early. Do you have anything before we get started? Before I've got 4 or so?
No, you go.
Jazz having more of a reaction to the snot than some of the murders.
Disgusting! Disgusting!
The snot scene comes in the first Sully sequence, and literally I looked over because the night before we'd watched Sleepy Hollow, which has these multiple just head cut-offs and all that sort of thing. And sure, it was your first time watching that movie, so there were surprises. But every single time a head got cut off, you were like, ah! and then I watched you clean the skin off a girl's finger. Taylor Russell just devour this woman's finger. You looked like you were at a funeral, no reaction. Maybe you would have a reaction at a funeral, but a dentist area or something. And then the minute the snot came on, no.
There are some things I can't do when it comes to horror. Snot, anything to do with eyeballs. There's a movie where they slit someone's eyeball. Can't fucking do it. No. Meh. And decapitation, because just seeing the body, nah. Those are my 3 things that I just don't like bodily fluids.
Okay. I'm not going to. You said this out loud, and I think there's something in it, or maybe not. What are the odds of her meeting 2 eaters? And then this led me to think, is this a change? Or is it actually, are there tons and tons and tons of eaters and her smell has now just been perfected and she can now smell them all?
It's kind of like in Harry Potter when like you turn 17 and then suddenly you can like, you know, use magic. Like you get like something changes and then, you know, now you're fully grown, a full grown eater. But maybe she has come across other eaters because Sully does say like, has anyone ever like taken you under their wing or blah blah blah. So maybe she has, but she just doesn't remember because she also says to Lee, he's like, oh, this is your first time or something, and then she was like, no, it's my first time remembering it. So maybe she has, and she just don't remember.
True. The notion of eating somebody bones and all. How?
I keep thinking about their teeth because I was like, do they have like special qualities in their teeth? Because then the other guy, when he's like, oh, I'm not actually like an eater, I just do it for funsies, fucking weirdo. I'm like, mate, surely your teeth aren't as strong as their teeth. So what, how, like,
I don't think it's the strength of teeth that stops a person from just eating flesh. It's a mental temperament.
But they say you've actually got the strength to bite off your finger. It's your brain that stops you.
Yeah. So that answers your question, doesn't it?
Yeah, that is true.
It's not that we can't, it's that we stop ourselves.
But also like the bones going down your throat. It's not gonna get scratched.
That's what I meant by the notion of bone spot. Why does the mum's letter sound drugged when she's like, and you brought you into this world? I think it's an effective choice, but there is a part of me where it's like, I guess that's the first time she's seen her mother, so she imagines her speaking that way.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was going to say. She's never heard her mother speak any other way. So when she imagines her mother's voice, of course it's going to be like that. Okay,
fair enough. Best specific Halloween costume: Sully hat and Native American represent. What's it called? My culture's not your costume outfit. But more importantly, Sully at the ending wearing 3/4 length shorts and a strobo hat and a short sleeve blue shirt.
Jesus whips.
I
suppose you could do the hillbilly and the dungarees with just nothing underneath.
You could do. There will be couples who dress up as Lee and Maren, surely.
Out of all of the like biracial couples,
yeah, I guess that. Yeah,
hoping that that's not their go-to, because you have many other great couples that you can choose from to go as for Halloween. Please don't choose them.
Who are the other great biracial Halloween costumes? Nobody's dressing as Jeff Nichols.
MJ Spider-Man. MJ Spider-Man. There you go. There's one at least.
Okay. So if you saw somebody at a party, as a biracial woman yourself, dressed as MJ and Tom Holland Spider-Man, and she was white, would you say that that's cultural appropriation?
And she's white? Yeah. I wouldn't like, look, it's Halloween. I ain't about to get aggy over that and ruin my life. But I would just be like, girl, what did you think when you woke up this morning and decided to dress up as Zendaya, even though you're not mixed?
She's like, I'm Kirsten Dunst.
Well, your costume says different, babes. So sort your shit out.
Evidently. A few fun facts. Bones and All had its world premiere at the 79th Annual Venice Film Festival, where it won the Silver Lion for Best Direction, so early awards buzz there. And the Taylor won the Marcello Mastroianni Award, which is specifically for actors of emerging talent. It's nice.
Well done.
Yes, even though I guess what's she doing?
Well, she's just done the effect. She's got something coming out because she's at Thingamajiggy. She's at New York Fashion Week, and normally they only push New York Fashion Week actors when they've got up and coming stuff. Otherwise, they just don't get featured really on like Vogue and shit like that.
Okay. So well, I hope she does lots of things. I think she's great.
So do I.
Francesca Scorsese had a.
Well.
She's dating who now?
Harry Styles. Well, no, they've rumored to have broken up.
I thought they had officially broken up.
Well, he was spotted with like another singer, but like, you know, Harry's got friends. He's a sociable guy.
Again, this comes out in a year, so they're probably both with different people. Anyway, Francesco Scorsese. Oh my God, Francesco Scorsese had a role that was cut out. Here we are, the wonderful John Waters, one of my favorite directors of all time. Here's his quote in his films of 2022, and where Bones and All was at the top of the list. Is there such a thing as a butch twink? Yes, there is. And Timothée Chalamet goes all Larry Clark on us here. A soft trade hetero who kills an evil closeted gay trick so he and his flesh-eating girlfriend can feed. Is that gay bashing or cannibally correct love? Just asking. This is why John Waters is the best.
What a statement.
What a man. Tom's big question. Oh, sorry, tagline rundown. Maybe love will set you free. Sure. Again, this leads me to believe that there are people who went into this movie not knowing.
Yeah.
Tom's big question. Sully, I don't kill people. At least I try not to. How many people has he actually found dead versus how many people he's killed?
Yeah, I think he's a big old killer. I think but justifies it. Because what is he doing? Just hanging out outside hospitals waiting for people to die so that you can munch on them? Like, you can only find so many elderly dying women who are by themselves.
Yeah.
So
maybe he's lucky. Maybe he's lucky. Also, it's not like, it's not like a werewolf or a vampire or whatever, where they need to drink blood to survive. Like the way he describes it is, you gotta get them while it's good, and maybe you don't have to, do something you regret later. Like if the urge strikes you, you want to already have a couple of dead bodies in the tank that you've eaten and enjoyed. How many people make up the hair chain?
I was thinking this because I was looking at it and I was like, well, if it's one braid per person, what if someone has really thin hair? It would fuck up the braid. But then if you look closer, there's actually like sometimes, I think it's children's. There's these tiny little braids that he's like put together in one section. He's braided individually and then braided into a big braid. And they were so small. I was like, that has to be a child's.
Not to be really, well, the movie's really dark. Eating and getting rid of a baby is probably easier.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, logically. But is it? Because people will be looking for that baby.
I know they never found the Lindbergh baby. Anyway, that's dark. No, but it's like the Coyotes. Like they're also really. People talk a lot about the 80s, everything now like set in the 80s and all the Stranger Things. This movie's set in the 80s by complete practicality of this story possibly doesn't exist in 2024. Like, when it comes to the practicalities of the way they're living and that sort of thing. So
much harder to, because that's why there was so many serial killers in the 70s and 80s, because it was just piss easy to get away with things. Because I kept questioning, like, when Sully, like, after he finished eating, he's like walking around the house and getting blood everywhere, and he's like DNA everywhere.
When he noticed the sofa, and he goes, eh.
Yeah. And I'm just like, they're gonna catch you. And then I was like, oh no, it's the 80s. Like, it's fine. They probably won't.
So, but my point is that the movie doesn't have any, sure, it has 80s needle drops, but it doesn't like lean into the 80s. It's not like everyone's wearing.
Shove it down your throat. No. Yeah.
I mean, she goes to the movies and we don't even see the movie. Where if this was Stranger Things, they'd be like, she's watching E.T. That's more or less it for my notes, Jazz. Anything left to say about the wonderful Bones and All?
Not really. I just think it's a very fucked up film.
Well, is it, yeah, but do you think that the movie pulls any punches? Because I don't, but like, do you think when it comes to, I don't know, letting these characters off or anything like, I mean, we haven't even talked about the great sequence where we reveal that the guy that he jacked off in the car is married with children, and and you know these rules that they set up and that sort of thing, and you know, and is this movie about Marin foregoing her rules, or is it about her rules being
about her finding
demented?
I think it's about her finding like what she is willing to do and what she isn't willing to do in order to live with this thing that she's got. I don't know what to call it.
Cannibalism.
But, well, yes, but like, you know, so I think it's like about her finding her boundaries and what she is willing to do and what she isn't willing to do, when killing is justified and when it's not, for the sake of her sanity. Because how long do they go between eating? Because like, is it a couple of months? Can they go years? Like, what is it?
Well, we were trying to break this down with Chloe Sevigny in the prison. Like,
yeah.
Well, this is what Sully, again, Sully does give her some pretty good wisdom of, you know, maybe, you know, you've got to get it while the going's good, instead of, get it while the going's good, because sometimes there might be a time later where you have to do something that you regret, and then he catches himself regret more, you know, because she's at this stage now where she doesn't want to beat anybody or kill anybody or anything like that. The way that the tape reads through her childhood sounds like she's killed a person like once a year, maybe once every 2 years. And that's
a watchful eye as well. But the dad also says that she never looked like she regretted it. No.
Because it's food.
But then they eat other food as well. They eat like regular human food.
No, I don't think it's about sustenance. This is what I was saying. I don't think it's about sustenance. Like, it's not like a vampire who needs to drink to survive or anything like that. You know, it's about it's an addiction. I think you look at this movie as a metaphor for being gay in the 80s, sure, but it's a metaphor more so for addiction, surely. And yeah, again, you can read into it in many ways, shapes, or form. But it's, I guess, addiction's the more apt in that they don't need it, but the overwhelming urge can come.
Then how can you say that the guy who's a groupie isn't one of them if he doesn't need it? Because she says, like, you don't have to do this. So it's like it's not a want or an addiction. It's like a necessity in her eyes. And then for him, he's just doing it for shits and gigs. So what is it?
But aren't there people who can, you know, quit coke like that, and people who need it as a necessity?
You're not born needing coke unless you've been under extremely horrible circumstances as a child.
Yes, and this is where metaphors start getting annoying, because, you know, because people start having, because you start having conversations like this. Is it, you prefer challenges to this?
No, I think I prefer Bones and All. I kind of want to watch all of his films now and like rank them.
Great. It's music to my ears. I've got them. I've brought them with it. So what's like? We've done challenges. I'm down. To be honest, I'm down to to make it a Lucathon. You can do whatever you want, but challenges is great. Suspiria, I'm interested what you think of Suspiria.
What's that about?
So it's a remake of a classic horror film from the 70s. I personally think it's better than the classic horror film from the 70s. If we do a podcast on that, we might have to get Jay on, because Jay is our resident. Me and Jay are the resident fucked up horror people. So, and he loves that movie. So Tilda Swinton plays 3 different people.
I love Tilda Swinton.
She's great. It's a very, very, very good film. It's 2.5 hours, so we'll have to set aside an evening. And yeah, Leanne can't be here for that one. No.
Oh.
Maybe worse than Bones and All.
Oh, I'm excited.
But it kind of falls into that thing of like Saw, like, I don't know what it feels like to be trapped inside an oven, and if you don't do the oven, like, I don't know how that feels. But if you're, but in like, you know, that episode of Black Mirror where the guy stands on the plug, and I like, oh, like that gives me more of a reaction. Bones and All is so visceral and tactile, and I can imagine what biting feels like and that sort of thing. Well, I know what biting feels like, but you know, whereas I don't know what it feels like to be possessed by a grand witch demon. You know, so some of the horror of Suspiria is different.
Is it more like, what's it called?
Fantastical.
Spiritual.
Yeah, I think you'll dig it. I think it's a great film. It's a great fucking movie. He makes great fucking movies.
Well, that will be our next watch thing, because I'm in a horror vibe.
Well, yeah, we're recording this on the eve of October, and anyway.
10%, but sure.
Well, this is where, well, Jazz, this is the decision. Do you want to continue with your other two picks, or do you want to make this a Luca series?
Let's do a Luca series, because I'm in the mood to watch new things.
Okay, well, there we go. Then in this case, we'll do them all out of order, make it interesting. Okay, yeah, no, this works. Sporadic, indeed. I can make this work. And yeah, by this time, and then we'll have to do an episode. Well, they'll be all right. Anyway, okay, right. There you go, folks. You've seen it here first. How this
LUCATHON came to be.
It'll now be called the LUCATHON. So it won't even be called the 3 picks anymore. So now it started as the 3 picks, and now we're here. Look at the arc. Look at the beautiful arc of what we're doing.
And then also, because of like the timeline, by the time we get to the end of the Luca episodes, who knows? We'll have more films out, and we'll just have to keep going.
Yeah,
it's a lifelong commitment, Tom.
Yeah, it's good. This is, yeah, you're saying that like it's a bad thing. Okay, right, wonderful. Well, I look forward to. Okay, we can do Suspiria next and do them all out of order. Do it backwards. Okay. Oh. Marvelous. Okay, see you for Suspiria.
Bye.